Hey, good afternoon, Drew. How you doing? It's great to see you again.
Wonderful. Yeah, well, man, good to see you too.
Hey, well, we want to do a part two to our video of and book review of Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. Really pretty powerful book that we read, over the last couple weeks. We did do a video recording on that last week, but we didn't get through all the topics. And the video quality wasn't the greatest, so we might do some video editing on it. But I thought it was a really powerful book because it focused on distilling out actionable goals, to make your life better, across 10 different key domains. And it was pretty good. It made me start rewriting my goals. What was your first impression off of it?
Well, man, I'm really glad that we're doing a part two to this book because I really feel like it warrants it. You know, when you think about trying to have your best life ever, you can't really have your best life ever until you start focusing on how to have your best year. Obviously, you can continue to distill that down to best month, best week, best day, hour, etc. But, we're kind of doing the Michael Hyatt plan right now. I've been working out of his journal, the Full Focus Journal, and I feel like it's really helped cement some habits of journaling, thought, mindfulness. That's what it really comes down to, mindfulness. How many of us are just kind of living life reactively and not really mindfully? I'm not mindful in the moment. If I can't be mindful in the moment, if I'm just kind of like just pushing through my time in life. And for those of us in prison, which is where I'm at right now, a lot of guys get so caught up just trying to do time. I'm just trying to get through life. Just want to make this year go away. I want to make these next 10 years go away. And believe it or not, I think people out there on the streets can also be the same way, whether they know it or not. See, we're more consciously aware that we're trying to make time pass. But people even out on the streets are also in that same gear, that same mode. And what I like about this is about stopping, slowing down, and making this year one worth remembering.
Hey,
So
I think
that's
that,
why I'm
yeah,
glad we're going back into this book.
I like that. I had this morning while I was preparing for us talking, I was thinking about, time is like a river. It just keeps on flowing. It's a resource you got to tap
Yeah.
into. And if you're not mindful,
Yeah.
if you're not watching the river, if you're not harvesting that resource, just, the river or the time, you're not going to take, advantage of life's opportunities. And that, sometimes you'll even pollute the river, or you'll pollute your time with like nonsensical activities.
Mm.
And really it's one of nature's, you know, unique, features. And it brings us fresh water. It helps, plant the crops and the fields. But if you want to have a life full of, flourishing fields, you need to take a minute, acknowledge the river. Don't be a piece of driftwood floating down the river, watching time go by, but actually, take action. And I really liked your analogy because out here, and I'll say the real world, right? Just because you're
Right.
incarcerated right now, it you can get so distracted and so hung up in, who shot John, or you might be medicating yourself with alcohol, and life is just, speeding on by. And if you're not paying attention in these, 10 domains, you're not gonna, be your best self. And I think we're all wired to try to be your best self. And those 10
Yeah.
domains that he breaks out, are spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, marital, parental, social, vocational, avocational, that's hobbies, and financial. And then he also challenges a limiting belief that a lot of people have. Oh, I can't have too many goals because then I'll get overwhelmed. He's like, no, don't be limiting yourself, because then you're closing the door on that part of your life. You should stretch yourself and go for it. And I think that's pretty good advice.
No, that's really good. A lot of people go to gyms. I go to a gym. I work out. I'm going to be working out a little bit today. Later on, we kind of do a little team CrossFit meeting. And, we're all going to rush up there, and we're going to go after equipment. If you want to get in shape, you're going to need some form of equipment. And that doesn't always mean dumbbells and barbells. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
pair of running shoes or running shorts, or maybe it's even your iPod or something that you look at me, iPod. I've never held any anything, but you need some sort of tech device. But my whole point is, you need some tools. If you want to craft and shape the best year of your life, you're not going to do it with no sort of equipment. And you coming from an elite military operational background, your life is full of equipment. You weren't able to pull off a lot of the missions and tasks that you did without the equipment that the American military provided you. And so I want to kind of dive into a few of what I consider like Michael Hyatt's equipment tools here that related to me today. Matter of fact, I was sitting in church this morning looking at my notes, thinking about what I wanted to talk about with you and what I wanted people to hear. And the first one is this. He talks about regret. Ooh, talk about a very personal, intimate word for the life of a prisoner. Something that I've lived with. He says, the point of regret is not to change the past, but to shed light on the present. And I just thought about, this is punishment for me. This is a reflection. I've been in prison I'm finishing my 24th year. And it's such a delicate balance because if I completely immerse myself in regret and live in regret, then I'll never be able to pick my eyes up to see the future. I won't even see the present. But if I live life with no regret, and I want to balance the word with regret with reflection. So, in the regret, like even when you correct a child, not only do you want them to feel a genuine sorrow for whatever it is they need to be corrected on, but you also want them to reflect. And that's a divine thing that kind of happens. And I can't really explain how it happens, but if you live without regret, you're almost doomed to repeat these mistakes.
Yeah.
Whether that's in your finances, your business, your marriage, your whatever, your physical fitness, But if you live in too much regret, you'll drown. And so, here I am in my life, finishing the sentence, getting ready to embark on, my second chance in life, and thinking how, God, show me how much regret I need to make sure that I stay with me. Even the Apostle Paul, in the Bible, you could see in his letters to the churches way later on that he still lived with a great amount of regret. And I think that kept him focused. That kept him, and I'm going to bleed into this tool, and then I'm going to pass it back to you. But if you balance regret appropriately in your life, it'll feed the next great energy source of your life, which is gratitude. If regret is bad, if you have too much regret, all you'll do is be sorrowful. If you have no regret, you'll be a blind idiot. But if you have the right amount of regret, you'll be full of gratitude. And so I think those two tools, balancing those two tools, has really helped this guy walk off the last quarter century, and is really going to help me with the next quarter century in my life too. Go ahead. Those are the tools. Those are the weight deck tools.
I think that's pretty good because if you're regretting or resenting or upset about the past, and you churn about how maybe you didn't had injustice or whatnot, then you can get stuck, right? But then Michael Hyatt highlights the importance of having gratitude ritual, whether you do it in prayer, whether you do it, like in my family, we say it when we say grace before we eat dinner. We go around the table. What are you grateful for? I've started including it in my journal where I write out all the things that I'm grateful for right now because it's numerous. I think that helped then feed your conscious full of all the positive things and the positive energy, which then helps you see the opportunity that's right in front of you. And that's vital because it's all about going forward. How are you going to make a difference with the time you have in your future? Another key tool that he brought up, that he stole from the military was the after action review. And I've been through the, JRTC, Joint Readiness Training Center. And I used to be one of the chiefs for special operations training at our big computer simulations. And we do after action reviews all the time. And if you have a really good culture and openness in your mind, mindful, and you have an honest dialogue with other people and really talk about, hey, what did we want to have happened? What had actually happened? And then, no kidding, what did we learn from that experience? And then, okay, what are we going to do next time so we don't repeat ourselves? And if you can walk through that in personally, inside your family, in your various relationships, whatever tribe that you're a member of, whether it's work or, church or family, what have you, if you can have that type of culture and willingness to reflect on how things have gone or haven't gone, and then try to learn from it, that really sets you apart from the rest. So I think that those three tools there all combine to really, set you in the right path. Now, you know what? And the tool that we mentioned already was, hey, no kidding, write some goals across those 10 domains. And those can either be achievement goals or habit goals. Like, hey, I want to have a habit of going to bed by 8:30 every night so that I have good sleep hygiene and then I'm consistently rested. That's like a habit goal. An achievement goal would be, hey, I want to finish this project, by the deadline, to these certain standards. That's an achievement goal, but it's a combination of those across those 10 domains. And with those tools we just talked about, I think can help you, live a successful life in a year. And really, his book, that Focus Planner, is all about a quarter. It's for 3 months, and I think that's how you have to start biting life. And I've really enjoyed getting into that planner, but I broke down, Drew. I cheated. I went and I bought a bullet journal, the same size. All right, so it's the dotted book, but it's short, it's smaller, but I like this because I can create my own pages and my own to-do lists and whatnot. So I had
Hey man,
I already
you're kind of a
defected.
journal whore.
Yeah, I know. I already defected
we're
away
gonna
from the.
talk about Michael Hyatt's journal. Not that one.
I know, but hey, but that journal inspired me, but I wanted the flexibility of a bullet journal. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, right now the format of Michael Hyatt's journal is just blessing my socks off, and I need a little structure. And you have a highly complex schedule in life, and me as a professional prisoner, mine's a little bit more very Bill Murray Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It's helping me. But let me slide into another quote. Let me give you guys another quote. Yeah, I was out having coffee this morning with a guy he's been on 19 years right now. He's 58 years old, and we were kind of reflecting on life. And I don't know, we every weekend morning about 6:45, 6:50ish, he and I kind of just end up in the same spot drinking coffee. I've known him for years, and we end up having these very organic, authentic, transparent conversations. I quoted a line on a Michael Hyatt's book. It said, well, let me read the entire quote. There comes a point in every experience when I'm too far in to quit. Now, I don't know if people have felt like that with marriages and businesses,
Yeah. Or a job, like
a job,
you're scared
right?
scared to change or whatnot.
Right. But but you're too far in to quit. But then he goes on to say, but almost certain I can't finish. Sometimes life puts you in that position. Sometimes I feel like God has allowed me to be in that position in my life where, man, I'm too far in to quit, but God, I don't know if I can make it. I remember in my sentence, you know, uh, Colonel Owen, Ray, he asked me the other day, when was it toughest for you? And I said, it wasn't the 5-year mark, it wasn't the 12-year mark, but it was between around the 13 to 15-year mark, that I was too far in to quit, but I didn't know that I could finish.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the hardest point, but he says, but here's the resolute mindset. He says, if I keep moving forward, I'll eventually get to the other side. And sometimes that's just a gear to get in with your life. And that's where I think the journaling and sticking to the schedule is that I don't know where you're at in your life. And I don't know how far into your sentence, proverbially, you are. But you just got to keep moving forward. And I'm going to tell you, this is the most powerful line. Don't overthink the outcome. Just do the next right thing.
Yeah.
And in that, do the next right thing for us, man, as some of us have been just professional screw-ups. It was such a simple mantra, that I don't know how to do the next 10 years. Man, I just need to figure out how to do this year. I don't know how to do the next 100 workouts. I just need to focus on doing this workout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I think this journal and your the bullet journal, the Bujo, comes in. But when he said that, just do the next right thing. That's kind of something that just kind of got into my spirit.
Yep.
Come on, Drew. Just do the next right thing. As I step deeper into my relationship, as I step deeper into even finishing a sentence, which I'm out in 2 years. When I get out, I can't overthink. Now, when I step out, we're talking 27 consecutive years of incarceration.
Yep.
And you know what's going to get me to the other side? Drew, just do the next right thing.
Yep.
And maybe some of you out there are thinking, overthinking, overcomplicating the journey. Just do the next right thing. And if you could journal it, right, you could start structuring and telling yourself. And this is the last point. I'm going to give it to you because we're about the 5-minute mark. Your why. What helps you? What motivates you? What grounds you? Like the roots of a tree, to do the next right thing is your why.
Yep.
And that ties in that on. I think we talked about that last week. The Viktor Frankl, he who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow.
Yep.
So as I continue to refresh my why, that's going to get me to do the next right thing. And after that, then it's the next right thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I think that's pretty awesome. You got to build the ability to listen to the little bird on your shoulder that tells you, "Hey, don't do that. That doesn't sound right." And listen to the little bird, and then do the right thing. I love the acronym DWYSYWD. Do what you say you will do.
You will do.
Yep. And it's not just what you say, promises you make to other people, but it's also what you tell yourself. Hey, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow, and then you hit the snooze bar. No, you need to follow through, be true to yourself. And then what that does is, as you keep on doing that, especially if you're practicing and preparing for excellence, then you're going to build that self-confidence, and then you're going to become unstoppable, because having the right attitude, having the right confidence, being prepared, that's really what discriminates folks from being successful. When you talked about that really long journey that at the end of special forces and selection training, the last thing you have to do is this really long march. You've already gone through 3 or 4 weeks of purely exhausting, torture with 60-pound rucksacks, doing all sorts of crazy stuff and land navigation all over the place. But then they wake you up at midnight and you don't have a compass, you don't have a watch, you don't have anything, and it's dark. And they just say, okay, start walking that way. And you got to make sure you don't drink your water below 60 pounds, because they'll keep on measuring your rucksack. And you just got to keep on walking, walking, walking. And in North Carolina, the roads are full of sand, so it's mushy, and you get cramps, you got blisters all over the place. But you know what? It's a gut check. They determine if you have a why. Do you really want to be there? Because if you don't, you're gonna bail. But if you just keep on walking, and it's almost like, it's funny you say 27 years. It's like it's somewhere in there. It's 26 to 28 mile walk, foot march that you got to do with that rucksack. And so, but talk about feeling good when you get to the end of that thing.
Yeah, man. Man, that is so. It's crazy the parallels between you serving, what was it, 25, 26 years in the military?
Yep, 26.
Somewhere up in there, and there's parallels to even regular people in life. You don't have to be, a prisoner or a special operations soldier to relate to some of these principles. I believe these principles are truly universal. And really what it's about is You know, you said something a long time ago. You said if you manage your PMs, you'll establish your AMs.
Yep.
You know, and the success in life is found in the details.
Yep.
And
Hey,
so I just really appreciate some of these concepts because it's helped me to really write some of the details that will establish me for the future.
yeah. Yeah, it's good. And then us collaborating, I think, and us capturing this and maybe sharing it on the internet,
Yeah.
we can help others. Hey, so I'd like to emphasize what you talked about. You know, like if you know, your AMs depend on your PMs. You know, the AM in the morning.
1 minute.
You know, if you have a good shutdown and good sleep hygiene and get to bed on time, you know, that really sets you up for the AM. And then if you have a good AM, that sets up your day for a successful day. So it keeps
Yeah.
on rolling on itself. Hey, I got a quote from you from one of your favorites, Les Brown. If you don't program yourself, life will program you. It gets back to the
Mm,
whole drifting down the river
I
that we were
love
talking
that.
about, right?
Yeah.
If you don't program
That guy
yourself,
told me the other day,
life will program you.
life will program you. A guy told me the other day, when you're born, you look like your father, but when you die, you look like your decisions. Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Michael Hyatt's book, Best Year Ever. You know, purchase it, get it. Want to also support the Full Focus Planner, and we'd like to hear from you too, and know what you thought and how it's changed in your life. And man, cousin, I love you.
Hey, I
I look
love you
forward
too.
to the next one.
Yep. See you next week.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye.